Well, I think it's high time that we treated mental health as seriously as physical health, and that's something that we haven't done as a country and a society before. So I'm very proud that the Liberal Democrats have become the party over the last few years to really champion mental health and the need for far better mental health services available to everyone, including younger people. Clearly that needs investment, we're honest about that, but I think we are getting to the stage where society acknowledges that mental health is an issue. It's an issue for many people, for all of us in some ways, and therefore we need to invest in it properly to make sure that it's no longer a second best, that actually it's treated as in exactly the same way that physical health is, with waiting times, with proper investment, access to services. And that of course in the end will not only have a very beneficial effect for people with mental health conditions that may come and go, but it will have a big impact for society and for jobs and for studying, because people will be able to carry on more if they get the treatment, doing the ordinary things that they need to be doing. Well, clearly it's going to be a process, and I'm very honest about that. Of course, I personally voted against the rise in tuition fees, and I led the rebellion, led 22 colleagues through the chamber, making it clear that we were not happy with that on the Liberal Democrat backbenches. It does have to be said that despite the damage that was clearly done by that decision, that actually there are more disadvantaged people going to university. Those numbers are up. So Labour's predictions about what would happen have been wrong. I personally would like to see a graduate tax with a similar system of progressive repayment. But yes, there's going to be work to do. But if you look at the Liberal Democrat manifesto, there are lots of positive things in terms of helping people get deposits for renting houses, for reduced bus travel. And of course, as well as those going to university, we've been the party focusing on apprenticeships, skills, getting people better chances in life, as well as earlier in education. So, yeah, we've got to be telling people what we stand for. But that will take time. But I'm going to do as much as I can to relate with people, relate with students during the course of this election. That's a good question. I suppose there are a number of things. I'm very proud that I changed the law. I've been the only backbench MP in recent history, actually, who has defeated a government on a whipped legislative vote. So I'm obviously proud of that. That was an amazing achievement. I'm also proud of some of the things I've delivered. I was one of the people leading the campaign for the Leeds Arena, for example, which we now have, at the time when certain senior councillors, Labour councillors, said it was a waste of money. But I'm just as proud of the fact that I have got around, spoken to people and helped lots of students, for example, with issues they've had with bonds being withheld. So there's lots of work that you do as a constituency MP that makes a big difference to people that people don't know about. So I'm just proud to be a hard-working, accessible MP, and I will do my best for people, whether they're students, whether they're not students, if they come and see me, and I will always try and engage with people. Well, of course, the first thing we need to do in terms of the possibilities of all of us getting jobs, graduates as much as anyone else, is have a stable economy. And from the disastrous position that the country was in 2010, we've had to make some tough decisions, but we now have 2 million more jobs than in 2010. That speaks for itself. Clearly, there is still work to do. We want to make sure that people have the right skills, and people need to judge what the right thing for them to do is, whether it's to go to university, whether it's to do an apprenticeship. And I think we need to improve careers education in schools, have more of a focus, better advice for people from an earlier age, rather than leaving it perhaps till 14, 15, 16. So I think the earlier years education, and particularly things like the pupil premium, that have really delivered money for disadvantaged students. That's the kind of thing that will help people get into jobs later in life. But of course then we need to make sure people have got the skills, whether that's going to university or whether it's getting apprenticeships, whether it's doing skills training, whether it's going to further education college. And that's why the Liberal Democrats are the only party that have ring-fenced the education budget from cradle to college, and that's something that we are taking forward into the next Parliament.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
No problem.